Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of PvP Legacy. In today's video, I'm going to be commentating about my sports life and how, I made that shot. I made that shot! I've done many sports, but out of the top, all of them, I'm going to say that I'm going to grab my top 3 sports. Alright, and my top 3 sports are, cross-country, wrestling, and track and field. Those are like the 3 good sports that I, practically like enjoy doing. And I'm running out of arrows. I've done these 3 sports ever since like a couple years ago. I think like the beginning of 2020 was like when I started actually doing like these sports. Hey, those are my top 3 sports, and I'll tell you all about them. So I told you that I started cross country like in 2020. All right, and that's like when cross country, for those of you who don't know, it's kind of like the name suggests. It's like cross country. All right, just running, not literally across the country. I mean, that's a whole video idea. Shh, don't tell. I might be doing that in the future. I ran across the country to get Mr. Beast a penny. I didn't bike. Biking is for losers. But, this guy, what is he doing? I don't know what he's doing. But anyway, I started it, and I met a group of friends. And these friends, I will remain anonymous. But, these friends were, I was pretty friends with them for, like, all summer. And, we decided to do cross-country. Cross-country is essentially where it's kind of self-explanatory. It's kind of just a sport where you just run. I mean, that's kind of like the gist of it. There's no like twist or anything. You get to run like 2 to 3 miles, and that's essentially it. And the point system was based on like your places. It's kind of simple. It's just simple math. All right, you can probably fill in the gaps from there. All right, it's not like rocket science. All right, this guy is like absolutely like bow spamming me to death. Holy moly, dude! Just actually load your bow. Your strategy is not working. I'm at like 5.5 hearts, guys. Actually, that's like 4.5, but regardless, he's like a punch away from death. But do I feel like punching him? Yes. I did pretty well across country, I'm gonna say so, averaging a placeholder of like 15 to 30th place, I think. But that's kind of like my average. It's not 100% accurate, but I did end up scoring 9th place once. But anyway, I'm going to talk about one meet that I will never ever forget. It consisted of a very long track, and it was very long because you knew it was 3 miles. But usually when it comes to the cross country meets, they make you do laps of the same track. So imagine doing like a total of like 7 miles or something like that. I don't know, but that would have been insane. But they're just like, you only have to do one. It's fine. I'm like, oh, I did not want to run 3 almost 6 miles, let's say that. But it seems like nothing could go wrong. But things did go wrong. The day prior to the meet, one minor little adjustment had changed me getting 24th place to getting 25th place. Yes, this was none other than the fact that it had rained. And I'm pretty sure that when it rains, mud tends to form, so, yeah. And something that did not help with this is that my shoes. I was not wearing athletic running shoes. I was actually wearing the opposite. I was wearing shoes meant for basketball. You know, the Nike high tops? They're meant for basketball courts, not outdoor running in the wood, you know. I will leave a picture of my running shoes, quote-unquote running shoes, on the top right of your screen. If you really wish to look at them, you guys can see how hard it was to run in these anvils of a shoe. Alright, and these shoes were actually... I was a size 14 then. I am now size 15, but now I have athletic running shoes, and I've learned from my mistakes. I kid you not. So when we were coming in for the last, like, final sprint, I actually found out that there was a puddle of mud. And, you know, mud by itself isn't that bad. Like, you know, you step in it once, it's fine. But this mud had already been trampled in, and it was just wet and gross. Alright, and this mud, it had been trampled in many different times. And I was in 24th place, might I add. And I was coming in, and my foot gets stuck in the mud. And, you know, my shoes are really big, and so they get really stuck. And I hadn't known until it was, like, already too late. And so I pull my sock out of my shoe, and since I had so much momentum going forward, I fell over into my hands and knees. And for those of you who had a troublesome time trying to interpret what I said right there, here's a good analogy. You know those white Costco socks that had like the red and gray at the end of the tip of the toe? Yeah, those white socks were now brown, covered in mud. Alright, that is what it looked like. Foolish me going back to go retrieve my shoe and forgetting that there are still runners behind me. 25th place comes up with his hip and he knocks me in the head. Like we collide, my head into his hip. That hurt a lot and it sent me onto my back. But luckily, this guy showed great sportsmanship, even though he was on the other team. And he helped me get up. And he's like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. Don't worry about it. Just go finish." All right. And he ended up taking 24th place. I took 25th. But hey. And the coach on the sideline, my coach is like, "Just throw me your shoe. Just throw it to me." And so I yeeted over to him. And I didn't even think, the thought didn't even cross on my mind about my other shoe that's still on. All right. So here I am, going to the finish line, sprinting as fast as I can, limping on one side because one side is big, like 2 inches taller than the other. So I'm like, I'm like leaning as I run. It's like running the three-legged race, but with one shoe. But that practically sums it all up. But there's another thing I want to share with you. So a couple months later, we have another meet, and this is like months after the one I just talked about. This is where I was getting a bit better, and I was starting to score like an average of 10 to 15 place. All right, during like this one couple months, I end up going to a meet, and we're running through a neighborhood, and this was a 2-lap meet, so we'd run 2 laps instead of like none or 3. No, my teammate, all right, he's like in front of me, and I was about to pass him, and his foot accidentally crosses mine. Like, I don't know if it like purposely came out or if it was like an accident, but I was on the curb of the sidewalk, and I almost fell down. But the thing is luckily I knew how to do a roll, and I just tucked and rolled and started to continue running because, boy, if I had stopped there, I would have gotten like 30th place. But it took me down a couple places, so from like 15th to like 18th place. I'm not sure, 21st, somewhere around there. But yeah, I'm not sure if that was intentional. I'm pretty sure it wasn't, but yeah, we're still pretty good friends to this day. Who knew running would be such a dangerous sport, man?